French automakers Citroen entered India with a bang. They actually didn't. It was in fact quite the opposite. Let's do this again. Rolling?
Yes.
Alright then. Citroen was a brand that many thought would bring the French Revolution to India. But they fumbled from the get-go, perhaps because they just couldn't understand the Indian car market and by extension, India's modern-day car buyers. But that didn't stop the French automakers from trying, and in that process, they came up with India's first mass-market coupe SUV, the Citroen Basalt. While it did set the sales charts on fire while the French Revolution hasn't happened yet, is the Basalt any good? I think it is. I think it's a good car. I think you should consider it. So what's lacking? Keep watching as I tell you the good, the bad, and maybe the ugly. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time we put out content that is curated to help you with your car purchases, maintenance, and a whole lot more. But first, a big thanks to La Maison Citroen Mangalore for lending me the car several times over. Coupe SUVs. I still don't dig this body style or the design in general. In fact, when I first saw the pictures of the Basalt on social media, I joked about how this is the first generation Swift Desire Cross. And then I saw the other mass market coupe SUV and I felt, well, this isn't all that bad. But the Basalt's design kinda grew on me with time. I'm still not a fan though. But honestly, the Basalt is a breath of fresh air in a market full of compact SUVs. It stands out without being an eyesore. Basalt is based on the same platform as the other C3 cars in India, including the now renamed Aircross. And that's evident from the front profile of this car. They're all familiar from the front, but with subtle changes. The grille has an interesting design. The details make it stand out, and the design elements you see up front are also seen inside the car. Perhaps that's why, despite being so similar, Basalt manages to look fresh and more appealing. You now get LED projector headlamps and LED DRLs, which is a welcome upgrade. But weirdly, the fog lamps are still halogens. I don't understand why some car makers do that. It kind of messes with the overall aesthetics of the vehicle. Well, it is what it is. The side profile is where things start to change for the Basalt. And no, it does not look like the first generation Desire to me anymore. Wait, the first generation Swift Desire. The coupe roofline dips sharply towards the C-pillar, and there are some interesting design elements over there, like on the C-pillar where you see a red insert. The car that we tested was a white car, so it was red. Citroen calls it the color clip. Depending on the color of the car, that can be either red or bronze. The red car that was there in the dealership was bronze, and that same thing, that design element, that red or the bronze thing, but in chrome, is also seen on the cladding, on the doors, as well as on the front, on the bumper, on the grille. You see it, it's there in the... You get flap type door handles. I'd prefer pull type door handles, but I'd pick this over the flush type door handles that are slowly becoming the norm. So I'm not going to hold that against Citroen. The ground clearance of 180 mm is ample, but may seem less compared to most other SUVs in the segment. The key word being seem, because we had no issues even while driving the Basalt on the worst of roads. I like the design of the alloy wheels, but at 16 inches, they come across as a bit tiny for this body type. Bigger wheels and higher profile tires would have made the car look a lot better. At least better, if not a lot better. Although I'm not inherently a fan of this rather oddball design, it's clean and the proportions are quite sorted and it does draw some attention towards it. So what I noticed is that it did turn some heads, and that happened even when we were shooting the B-rolls on the roads. People were turning around to look at the car. Maybe it was us shooting the car, but it did draw some attention. This is very much a notchback design, and that is evident looking at the rear profile of the car. And just like a notchback, the hinges for the boot are on the roof, unlike a sedan. You see those two bumps that are integrated seamlessly into the design, and that's where the hinges are housed, hinges for the tailgate. Once you open the tailgate, you're welcomed with a massive 470 liters of boot space. It is massive and it's also shaped really well. Minimum protrusion by the suspensions, so you can load a lot of luggage. So your road trips, your airport runs, your long road trips, that goes on for like weeks, it's going to be fine. It can take in a lot of luggage. You get an LED lamp for the boot and the spare wheel is not an alloy. I would have actually got a heart attack if Citroen had put alloys for the spare wheel. You don't get so many basic features that are considered pretty much a norm today. So alloy wheels for the spare wheel would have been too much. The tail lights are very smartly done. Smart because it's not an LED, not even a bit. It's halogen bulbs all over, but it looks like LED lights. It's chunky and kind of protrudes out, making the car look even wider. You also get 4 skid plates and the overall design of the rear is quite pleasing. But LEDs would have helped. It would have made the car look more appealing, at least at night. Also, just like most crossovers these days, there's black cladding running across the car. By the way, there's only 2 parking sensors at the rear. I mean, come on. Why couldn't they just add 2 more? The best thing about the Basalt is its rear seat comfort. So let's talk about that. The first thing I wanted to check out was the adjustable under thigh support that was marketed big time. But guess what? Only the automatic variants get it, not the automatic variants. Only the top end automatic gets it. And we had only the manual transmission available for the test drives. So we drove all the way back to La Maison Citroen Maglore to show you that, and then we came back to the shoot location. Okay, I came up with this joke when I was making notes while testing the car, so we'll just continue with this for the sake of comedy. You can raise the front part of the cushion to increase the under thigh support, and honestly, that really ups the comfort levels at the back seat. In fact, that's a feature that should be there in the manual variants, at least in the top end manual, because this could be very useful for the ones who are going to be chauffeur driven. But then Citroen being Citroen, back to the topic now, the manual variant doesn't get the under thigh support adjustment. Big miss. Big miss. Come on, Citroen India. It's one feature I'd like to see in a lot of cars. It's so simple, but it's ingenious. I think this is a great feature that Citroen has come up with. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but the manual variants need it. Still, the rear seat comfort is great. It's a great space to be in. Considering that this is a coupe SUV, one would assume that the headroom might come at a premium, right? Right? Nope. That's not the case. There's adequate headroom even for taller passengers, and the wheelbase is long, quite long. It's 2651 mm. So there's a lot of knee room, and there's a lot of leg room. So yeah, it's a comfortable space to be in. Feels spacious in general. I absolutely love the winged headrest there. The way it's designed, it kind of holds your head as you rest. So it's very comfortable. And you also get this chin-to-min-to fixed headrest for the center passenger. It's almost like it's not there, but it's there. So it's good, I guess. You get an armrest with 2 cup holders and a mobile holder. And the part leatherette, part fabric seats. The cushioning, superb. Very comfortable. You also get 2 AC vents at the rear. By the way, the AC is an absolute chiller, but we'll get to that in a while. I'll tell you about it when we talk about the front seats. But before I talk about the front seats, to get into the car, you do not get passive keyless entry. You have to take the key out from your pocket, unlock the car, and then get inside in 2025. But on the upside, the new flip key is much better than the cheap fixed key you used to get with the C3 earlier. This is not a gripe per se, I mean the flip key, but it's just one of those several things that impact the overall value of the car, at least the perceived value of the car. Once inside though, you have this black and white dual tone treatment with piano black inserts in the cabin, and it kind of looks cool. Interestingly, you also see the similar design elements on the AC vents that you saw on the grille. I think I mentioned it earlier as well. First of all, the AC is a chiller. It is bonkers. It cools the cabin in no time, and the minimum temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. 13. Pardon my French, but it will freeze your balls off. But if you have to switch off the AC, there is no button to directly switch it off. You have to reduce the blower speed to 0 to switch it off. The materials used are of decent quality, but I found some sore points in the lower half of the dash. You get a center armrest with a very handy slide function, and the 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system with wireless connectivity works pretty well. It gets Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, wireless as I mentioned, no complaints there. You also get a rear view parking camera. The image quality is acceptable, and you also get a wireless charger. The instrument cluster is digital, but it's kind of basic, and the information it shows isn't a lot either. Overall, in terms of features, there's not much to talk about. Don't get me wrong, there are some handy features, but it misses out on several that have pretty much become the norm today. Cruise control, for example, is a feature that should be there in a car by a brand that is known to prioritize comfort. The seats are superb. I need to highlight this because the comfort in this car is fantastic thanks to its brilliant ride quality in general, but the seats really enhance it. The cushioning is great. It holds you really well around the corners. The part leatherette, part fabric upholstery feels very comforting, and the leather wrapped steering wheel, although weirdly small, feels good to hold. And thus, the cabin, the front seats, nice space, quite comfortable, quite pleasurable. I don't know if that's the right word. In terms of practicality, there are some storage spaces, but it's not the most practical cabin you'll find. I mean, you've got some cup holders, door pockets, the glove box, decent sized. It's alright. I noticed my phone falling several times when I placed it in the wireless charger, but maybe it was my phone cover, I'm not really sure. In terms of safety, you get 6 airbags as standard now. You get ABS with EBD, ISOFIX child seat mounts, hill hold assist, and most of the things that have pretty much become a norm today. The Citroen Basalt scored 4 stars in the Bharat NCAP crash test. You can probably say, well, most cars are scoring 5 stars and they scored only 4, but then you can't really fault a car for scoring 4 stars. It's kind of weird. 4 stars are fine, I think, but then it's up to you. Also understand that crash tests are not the be all and end all of safety. There's so much more that goes into it. Powering the Citroen Basalt is a pretty sweet 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine that Citroen calls the PureTech 110. It produces 110 bhp of power and 190 Nm of torque when paired with a manual gearbox. Interestingly though, the AT option has a better torque rating of 205 Nm. You also have the option of a naturally aspirated engine producing 80 bhp of power and 115 Nm of torque, which helps with the entry-level model pricing. Now, if you look at the numbers, they're not big, not even for the turbocharged engine option. Not as per today's standards that so many OEMs have set. But numbers alone never define a car. Yes, this isn't super exciting, but does it get the job done? Yes, it does. It does more than that, to be honest. It never feels underpowered. In fact, the engine in general is quite responsive, but it is a 3-cylinder engine, and you will feel the 3-cylinderness from time to time. You'll notice it when you fire up the engine, and you'll also notice it when you push it to the higher revs, but none of it is particularly bothersome. I like this motor. It's peppy, and although there's a bit of lag until like 2200 RPM, it's not much of an issue. I mean, it's not slow as such. It's fine even before the turbo kicks in. But once the turbo kicks in, it pulls cleanly until like 5800, 6000 RPM. So the power band is great. It's very nice to drive, and in its own right, it's a little fun to drive as well. It's also incredibly efficient. While the claim mileage is 19.5 kmpl for the manual variants, you can actually end up getting near about the same numbers in the real world with city driving. You can manage about 11 to 14 or 15 in the city depending on how you drive, and anywhere between 15, 16 to around 20 on the highways, again depending on your driving style. The engaged levels is something that Citroen really needs to work on, because you can hear the engine, you can hear the suspensions, the road noise creeps into the cabin, and it's not really a very pleasant experience. Granted that this car is built to a cost, but fixing these little things could go a long way in making this car a lot more desirable. While I really love the engine, I can't say the same about the gearbox. I mean, it's alright. The 6-speed manual does the job, but if I have to be a little critical here, it's not slick shifting. It feels rubbery, and the clutch pedal has a long travel. Also, the gear knob, it's not very good to hold, and the ergonomics, it's a bit odd. The armrest gets in the way of shifting gears. So if I am shifting gears, if my hand's somewhere over here, so let's say this is the gear, sorry, let's say this is the armrest. If I'm shifting from here, this gets in the way. If I have to put it in the front, it gets in the way. Again, the ergonomics, kind of odd, and it gets a bit annoying, to be honest. Also, there's no dead pedal. Why? Once you get past whatever complaints you may have regarding the Basalt's features or the lack of it, or about the performance or anything else, and get to the ride and handling aspect of it, you're in for a lovely, comfortable experience because it drives like a dream. The ride quality, incredible. It soaks in practically anything in spots. While it's not the most exciting around the corners, it's certainly quite composed. The steering wheel is a bit slow to respond, and there's some body roll as well, but it's never unsettling. The car feels stable even when you're doing triple-digit speeds. The brakes though aren't the most impressive. It feels mushy, and I feel like it needs more bite overall. But again, the ride comfort, it is top notch. It's the ride quality of the Basalt that makes me say, consider it to you. There I said it again. Consider the Basalt if you're looking for a car in this price bracket. And that's where I leave you to decide whether you should go for this car or not. Me, I'm kind of annoyed because this is a good car and it's failing because Citroen cut corners a little too much. I mean, India is a market where you need to learn quick, really quick. You cannot do the same mistakes over and over again and expect different results, right? You build something that is fundamentally a good car, nice engine, great ride quality, super comfortable, but that won't cut it anymore because it's a super competitive market. Indian customers are looking for value today more than anything else, at least the perceived value. So Citroen needs a little more than just attractive pricing and great ride quality to reach out to the Indian masses. They've got the basics covered. They've improved on several fronts. They've been listening to the customers and the media feedback. Now they need to take things to the next level. If you have any doubts, any questions about the Basalt or this video, let me know in the comment section below and I'll answer each one of them over there, even if there are like hundreds of them. Also, if you have any opinions or views about the Basalt or this video in general, the comment section below, it's all yours. Let's have a party over there. Okay, what else is left? Oh yeah, my name is Sumit Suvarna. This is BHP, that is Beyond Horsepower. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to check out the Basalt or any of the Citroen cars, you should visit La Maison, Citroen Mangalore and get yourselves a test drive. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Well, okay then.